Hello and welcome. You're watching WION World is One. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Heem Kaur Sarah and you're watching World DNA. Let's get started with the headlines first. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Argentina in the third leg of his five-nation tour after concluding his two-day visit to Trinidad and Tobago, where he was conferred with the highest civilian honor. US President Donald Trump signs his flagship tax and spending bill into law, says America is winning like never before at the event flanked by Republican lawmakers. Donald Trump kisses wife Melania as chants of USA rise from the picnic crowd on the south lawn of the White House when they appear on the Truman balcony to watch the 4th of July fireworks. At least 13 people die after flash flooding hit South Central Texas with more than 20 girls at a summer camp still unaccounted for. Hamas says it is ready to start talks immediately on a proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza, where the Civil Defense Agency says Israel's ongoing offensive killed more than 50 people. Russia says it sees no immediate diplomatic way out of the war in Ukraine, hours after pummeling the war-torn country with its largest ever drone and missile barrage of the invasion. Saudi oil giant Aramco is planning to sell up to 5 gas-fired power plants, aiming to raise $4 billion as it seeks to cut costs and boost payouts amid falling oil prices and rising pressure to fund the kingdom's mega projects. Now, US President Donald Trump signed his flagship tax and spending bill into law on the White House South Lawn, fulfilling his promise to enact the big, beautiful legislation by Independence Day. Trump was joined by members of the Congress and families of the US military during the signing of the bill, all of whom were invited for the Independence Day celebrations. The signing event was part of the 4th of July extravaganza, complete with the flypast of B-2 bombers and F-35 fighter jets. Before the ceremony, Trump addressed the crowd from the White House balcony and termed the legislation as the biggest bill of its type in history.
What we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history. We've never had anything like that before. Nothing like that they thought would be possible to get passed. And actually, I liked it because we had so much in there that no matter who you are, there was something in that bill that would make your congressman or your senator or your congresswoman, much more importantly, raise their hand and support, right, Lisa?
Now, the bill described by Trump as the largest tax cut, spending cut and border security investment passed Congress with 218 to 214 votes after an emotional debate on the House floor. It involved weeks of intense lobbying by Trump and his allies. The newly enacted act is set to fund Trump's immigration crackdown to make his 2017 tax cuts permanent and will knock millions of Americans off the health insurance. The bill's passage amounts to a big win for Trump and his Republican allies, who have argued that it will boost economic growth while largely dismissing a non-partisan analysis, predicting that it will add more than $3 trillion to the nation's $36.2 trillion debt. Now, chief among the critics was Elon Musk, of course, who had argued against the bill since it was first envisaged by Trump by going as far as to berate Trump publicly. Both exchanged insults on social media. Musk expressed great dissatisfaction with the act, publicly weighed in on the idea of a third party in the United States after Donald Trump's signature on the big, beautiful bill. In a post on X, Musk said that Independence Day was the perfect occasion to ask if people wanted independence from the two-party system. Musk, who has showed the intent to jump into politics with his America party, said that the aim of his party would be to focus on 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts, which would be enough to serve as the deciding vote on the contentious laws given the razor-thin legislative margins. Now, Musk, who previously championed cost-cutting through the Department of Government Efficiency, had criticized the bill for its projected $3.3 trillion addition to the national deficit over the next decade. Many Republicans fear that the Big Beautiful Act will cut into social safety programs like the Medicaid, food stamps, leaving them defenseless in next year's midterm elections.
Last administration, he was the worst president in the history of our country. Nothing was happening.
Now, for more on this, the correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Take a look.
President Trump officially signed the One Big Beautiful Bill on July 4th during a patriotic event on the South Lawn at the White House. Right before he put pen to paper, an impressive flyover of B-2 stealth bombers, F-22s and F-35s thundered overhead, honoring the pilots behind recent Iran strikes and celebrating America's Independence Day. Trump hailed the legislation as, quote-unquote, the biggest tax cuts in history, merging multiple promises into one package. Permanent 2017 tax cuts, full tip and overtime exemptions, and a boost in child tax credit, as well as expanded SALT deductions, while also ramping up defense, immigration enforcement, and air traffic modernization. He framed it as a symbol of promises made, promises kept, tying the bill's signing to America's birthday and a vision of national strength. Now, most Americans oppose the bill, while polls showing a clear majority of Democrats and independents not happy with this bill, while support remains strong, mainly among Republican voters. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
At least 13 people dead, several others, including more than 20 children who were part of a summer camp, are missing after devastating floods hit central Texas following severe rainfall. Rescue and search operations are underway for stranded residents and missing people. According to reports, central Texas witnessed rainfall of up to 15 inches from Thursday evening, prompting multiple flash floods, while at least 13 have been confirmed dead so far. Officials are saying that the casualties are expected to rise as several are missing. These visuals show the extent of the damage of the catastrophic floods that have brought in.
Currently, we have identified 13 fatalities. We haven't identified, and we have located 13. That's at this time. I think there'll be more when this is over and time to tell. We'll do our best job to keep you informed as we can. Among the people missing are more than 20 girls who had come for a summer camp
According to the authorities, 50 rescue personnel and 14 helicopters have been deployed for the search and rescue operation. The state's primary search and rescue team has also been roped in for the operations. Several shelter homes have been opened up in Texas as forecasters issued a flood warning for the county, urging those living near the river to move to higher ground. Now, the echoes of a high-stakes phone call between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin had barely faded before the skies over Ukraine erupted in explosions. Russia unleashed one of its largest and most brutal attacks since the war's outset, leaving at least 23 people injured in Kyiv alone and causing widespread destruction. A short while ago, Trump held a phone call with Zelensky. They discussed air defenses and agreed to work on increasing capabilities to defend the skies. Take a look.
Kyiv trembles under a merciless barrage. Flames scorch the horizon as Russia launches one of the fiercest onslaughts yet. Ukraine stands defenseless, its people trapped in the crossfire of Putin's rage. Watch the horrifying moment when a drone struck a residential apartment in the heart of Kyiv. 539 drones and 11 missiles raining down on Kyiv in a harrowing 8-hour barrage. Among the missiles fired were Iskander and Kinzhal. This is the most intense attack since the conflict began in February 2022. The opening salvo was brutal, explosive drones plummeting onto schools, apartment blocks, cafes and railway stations. Underground metro stations became shelters of last resort as detonations shook the city center. Residential buildings along both sides of the Dnipro border were left smoking, glass shattered, and fires blazing into the night sky.
I had a feeling that something was flying every minute. The Shaheds, attack drones, were descending, and then bang, bang. Then we realized that our building had been hit. We were sitting in the hallway. When we opened the door to our flat, we saw sparks flying as high as the 4th floor. We later learned that the drone had hit the 2nd floor below us. Everything is covered in soot now. It's difficult to breathe there. We have packed some belongings and are going to the countryside.
I woke up to the sound of explosions. First the Shahed drones started buzzing, and then the explosions began. Then people started screaming outside. The explosions from the Shahed drones kept coming.
President Zelensky calls it a deliberately massive and cynical strike, timed ominously just hours after a phone call between Putin and Trump. US President Donald Trump says he made no progress with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on ending the Ukraine war in a call, as the Kremlin insists the Russian president would stick to his aims in the conflict. Moscow claims military targets were hit using high-precision long-range weapons, hypersonic missiles and drones, asserting all designated objects have been hit. Despite Russia's escalating attacks and Ukraine's desperate need for air defense systems, the Trump administration has decided to halt shipments of Patriot missiles and other promised weapons to Kyiv, claiming it needs to secure its own stockpiles. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Now, Palestinian militant group Hamas has said that it is ready to start talks immediately on a proposal for a ceasefire, where the Civil Defense Agency says Israel's ongoing offensive killed more than 50 people. The militant group said that the movement is ready to engage immediately and seriously in a cycle of negotiations on the mechanisms to put in place. the terms of a draft US-backed truce proposal received from mediators. Hamas ally Islamic Jihad said that it supports ceasefire talks but demands guarantees that Israel will not resume its aggression once hostages held in Gaza are freed. According to reports, the latest proposal includes a 60-day truce during which Hamas would release half of the living Israeli captives in the Gaza Strip in exchange for Israel releasing a number of Palestinian prisoners and detainees. The plan reportedly entails the release of 10 living Israeli hostages and the bodies of 18 others. Out of the 251 hostages seized by Palestinian militants during the October 2023 attack, 49 are still held in Gaza, including 27 the Israeli military says are dead. However, Israeli media claims Hamas has requested minor changes to ceasefire proposal, asking that the handling of aid to Gaza be returned to traditional agencies like the UN, and that the Israel and US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has been distributing aid that bypasses Hamas, be removed from Gaza. The United Nations says more than 500 people have been killed in the vicinity of the Humanitarian Foundation site since last May. The GHF began operations on the 26th of May after Israel halted supplies into the Gaza Strip, more than 2 months sparking famine warnings. Furthermore, Gaza civil defense officials say Israeli strikes and gunfire killed at least 52 people on Friday. The Palestinians killed included 5 shot while waiting for aid near Rafah and several others near the Wadi Gaza bridge. 8 people, including a child, were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the tents of displaced civilians near Khan Yunis. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, Israel's military campaign has killed at least 57,268 people in Gaza since October 2023. On the other hand, the Israeli military said a 19-year-old sergeant fell during combat in the southern Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people in Yemen took to the streets of the country's capital, Sana'a, to show solidarity with Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Protesters carried the Yemeni and Palestinian flags and chanted against Israel and the United States. Now, artificial intelligence, it's no longer a futuristic concept. It influences everything from the way we work, how we learn and grow. As AI adoption grows, personal finance is becoming a major application for retail investors to level the playing field with Wall Street's top firms. Take a look at this next report for more on this.
Artificial intelligence is a major part of life for a growingly tech-first generation. But in recent years, artificial intelligence has quietly become the most powerful tool in every investor's toolbox. AI-driven systems are reshaping how individuals make smarter decisions by processing vast swaths of data at speeds no human can possibly match. At the heart of this fintech transformation lies AI's ability to digest and analyze thousands of variables simultaneously. From financial fundamentals to sentiment indicators, these systems integrate diverse data points into a coherent investment thesis. Accurate forecasting is one thing, but what takes this innovation further is transparency. Today's AI tools don't just spit out stock recommendations, they explain them. Investors can see exactly which metrics moved the needle. Was a company added because free cash flow surged? Was it dropped due to weakening margins? Or did analyst downgrades trigger the move? This level of insight helps demystify algorithmic decisions and builds confidence in data-driven strategies. The real edge comes in pattern recognition. By regularly reviewing these AI-generated rationales, users begin to spot recurring themes, like stocks consistently included due to strong earnings momentum or removed because of declining analyst sentiment. This ongoing learning process effectively arms everyday investors with the same disciplined approach often reserved for professionals. But experts warn that AI isn't foolproof. It's a decision support tool. For investors aiming to move beyond gut feelings and headlines, AI offers a highly systematic, transparent, and scalable edge, transforming the research process and leveling the playing field in personal finance. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Now, Liverpool star Mohamed Salah says it is going to be extremely difficult to accept the death of teammate Diogo Jota. Salah added that the idea of going back to Liverpool now frightens him. Reacting to Jota's death for the first time, Salah said, and I'm quoting, "I'm truly lost for words. Until yesterday, I never thought there would be something that would frighten me of going back to Liverpool after the break. Teammates come and go, but not like this. It's going to be extremely difficult to accept that Diogo won't be there when we go back." Diogo Jota and his brother Andre died in a car crash which took place on Thursday in northwestern Spanish province of Zamora. Jota was on his way from Porto to Santander in northern Spain. Jota had undergone minor lung surgery, so doctors had advised him against flying. As a result, he was planning to return to Liverpool by boat for the start of pre-season, which was earlier due to begin on Monday, but now has been postponed. A public wake took place for Jota and his brother in their hometown. Portugal Prime Minister Luis Montenegro and President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa were among those who attended. Thousands lined up to pay their last respects to Jota. Jota's funeral will take place at 10 a.m. local time today. Over in Liverpool, fans continued to pay homage to Jota outside Anfield. Former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson was among thousands who laid flowers outside Liverpool's home stadium. Now, you might be living under a rock if you haven't watched Back to the Future. The iconic film has now completed 40 years. The movie, which zoomed into the theaters in July 1985, changed pop culture forever. Helmed by Robert Zemeckis and produced by Steven Spielberg, this time travel adventure became an instant classic. Starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, the movie clicked with the audience in its first week. Many would not know that the movie grossed $381 million worldwide on a $19 million budget. Set in 1985, it follows Marty McFly, a teenager accidentally sent back to 1955 in a time-traveling automobile built by his eccentric scientist friend, where he inadvertently prevents his future parents from falling in love, threatening his existence.